Alright, so now we're going to be looking at role 3, the inferencer. This one's going to be a little bit of a tough one, so bear with me if I end up taking a little too long, although I'll try and talk really quickly. So, inferencer, what does inference mean? So here's my pen where we're taking notes. I'd like you to draw a box around inferencer and draw an arrow here. An inferencer is someone who reads between the lines. And think about it like this. It's somebody who can possibly read between the lines looking at body language, maybe body language, maybe facial expressions. I'm getting super messy up here, sorry. Facial expressions, maybe tonality. We'll just go up here. Tonality of a voice. That means how they're speaking. So think of, for example, you're talking to a friend and she's had a really long day, and you ask her, hey, so how you doing? And she says, oh, I'm great. Her words are telling her that she's doing dandy, like everything is perfect, she's great. But that tonality of voice, the oh, I'm doing great, that kind of monotone, and that the lowering of the note at the end of it, I'm doing great. That is telling you that something else is going on, and you are going to read between the lines, and you are going to infer that, you know what, she's actually not doing great, and you need to talk to her about that. It could also, facial expression, I can't hear. Oof, this might be a little, yeah, we're not going to do that. Alright, so facial expression could also be kind of like, oh, I'm doing great, but she keeps a straight face instead of, like, when people are doing great, they usually smile. So you're going to be inferring from her lack of facial expression when she says she's doing great, that you're going to read between the lines, and you're going to infer that, you know what, she's not doing great, and you need to, again, talk to her and see how she's doing. So that is kind of what an inferencer does. And we're going to go ahead and look through this to help us understand more about the inferencer. And I want to point out, we're looking at a skeleton, and as you can see here, the skull, or the brain, we'll go ahead and write brain here, refers to think. So let's go ahead and just squiggly line under think. Then we've got this heart here, and heart is felt, refers to felt, which actually said thought. So we shouldn't be scribbling out think, sorry. We should be scribbling out thoughts, because the brain thinks, the heart feels. We've got this mouth. We'll go ahead and write mouth, and the mouth talks, so says. Down here we've got the hands, so we can write hands, and the hands do something, action, they do something. So we're putting a little squiggly line under action, sorry. And then we've got the feet, influencing. Feet means where is this character going, and who are they going with? Who are they bringing with them, or who are they influencing to make a different decision? Excuse me. I know I've been clearing my throat lately. I apologize. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and write over here. On page, we're looking for characters who think something. I want you to try and use, actually, you do not need to use the same characters. So up here at the top, you do not need to use the same character. Okay? But notice how there's two sides here. So you could do Lily thought this, and the dad thought that, and then Jonas said this, and the mom said that, and Asher felt this, and Jonas felt that. So you can pick and choose by characters which ones you want to be focusing on for each thing. So I know that we've been talking a lot about Jonas in the beginning, and I think that's still really important, and I think that by looking at our inferring, we'll be able to even get more of what is happening for Jonas. So on page 1, I think Jonas thought, and then see these quotes here? That means we need to pull a direct quote from the text. So here we've got, I think Jonas thought wrong word, and he actually says Jonas thought wrong word. I think Jonas thought wrong word, and then if I need to, I can say frightened, because that will give me a little sense of what he's talking about. I think Jonas thought that frightened was the wrong word, because he's a smart boy, because Jonas is a smart boy who values communication. He values communication, and we actually see this later on when he's communicating with his dad about the job of nurture, and when he's also communicating his apprehension at the telling of the feelings. So now, page blank, we're looking at when a character says something. And again, we see these quote marks, so we need to find something directly from the text, which I was really intrigued by. On page 8 in my text, Jonas's father, right here, it says, "Well, father said, I'm going to keep trying. I may ask the committee for permission to bring him here at night, if you don't mind. You know what the night crew nurturers are like. I think this little guy needs something extra." So I was intrigued by, he's going to ask for permission to bring him here at night, the baby. So when father said, "I'm going to ask permission to bring the baby home at night." This made me think that he really is a good man. Father is a very, very good man who has a big heart and wants people to do and have a good life. It made me think that he is a good man with a good heart who wants the best for those around him. Now we're looking for things that felt, a character who felt something. And so I'm going to be looking at page 9. "I feel frightened for him too," she confessed. "You know that there's no third chance. The rules say that if there's a third transgression, he simply has to be released." Jonas shivered. He knew it had happened. So I'm curious that Lily is frightened for this baby. So on page 9, I think Lily felt frightened. And this tells us the fact that she was frightened, we can infer that Lily also has a big heart. So I think Lily felt frightened because she has a big heart and does not want anyone to suffer. Now I'm just now noticing I'm writing these all in green. They should be all in black. Sorry. And I'm not going to say anything else aside from that. Now we're looking at the hands and what a character does. So I think a character does, and I was also curious about this. Lily stood up and went, let's see, from his place at the table, Father reached over and took her hand. Jonas reached for the other one. One by one, they comforted her. So I was surprised. So this is still on page 9. I think Jonas and Father held Lily's hands because this is a family. Even if we think it's strange, even if we think it's a strange way to have a family. And then in this last one, characters who influence the other characters. Again, I'm still going to look at this text, at this area. So, soon she smiled. So Lily, one by one, they comforted her. Soon she smiled, thanked them, and murmured that she felt smooth. So this is still on page 9. I think the characters, we'll just say the family, influence the character Lily in this way. So in this way, they soothed and comforted her. And then I'm going to add a note. This actually is a family of people who care. This is a family, and these people do care for each other. And I find that very interesting, and I imagine that some of you guys will too. So your homework is to be working on the rest of this side and adding on here. All right, if you have any questions, make sure that you try first to post them on the discussion page for the giver. Thank you very much.